Some women don't chase, and yet they're never forgotten. They leave behind no trace, but somehow remain, haunting the edges of a man's mind like a reflection he cannot escape. Seeing one, the unseen war, his inner silence stands before you, steady, composed, saying nothing. But beneath his silence, an invisible war rages a battle between the man he shows and the man he buries. He feels it, that pull toward you. An ache that is not allowed to surface, because if he names, it owns him. In the chambers of his psyche, the shadow whispers. It tells him you see through him the cracks, the fears, the unfinished stories. He senses your gaze not as admiration, but as exposure. And so he crafts a mask stoic, untouchable. The more he desires you, the more indifferent he must appear. But the true feminine isn't fooled by the mask. She feels the tension that words will never confess. She knows men don't always desire what they can have. They desire what reflects their hidden wounds back at them. Scene 2, projection. When you become his mirrors drawn to you, yet restless in your presence, you don't demand his attention. That's what unsettles him most. You don't validate him with approval. You simply exist whole, radiant, detached, and in that simplicity, you become the screen upon which his unconscious projects. You become his unfinished mother, his denied anima, his forbidden tenderness, and yet he will never admit this. To do so would be to confess that his attraction is not about you at all. It's about himself, the parts he's exiled. So he oscillates. One moment, he's close, the next, distant, because to be near you means to be near the truth. The ego resists. His masculine pride demands control, but the psyche knows better. It whispers, here stands the woman who sees. Scene 3, tension rising. The fear of being known fears you, not because you're dangerous, but because you're silent. You don't chase. You don't fill the void with noise. You allow the silence to echo. And in that echo, he meets himself. He will never confess the suffocating weight of being the man, the provider, the protector, the performer. Roles inherited from generations of wounded men who were never taught how to feel. But in your presence, all performances collapse. You are not impressed by illusions. He feels exposed, vulnerable, yearning. But it's a yearning he cannot articulate. So instead, he withdraws. He hardens. He pretends. Because to admit his need for your emotional sanctuary would be to unravel years of armor. Scene 4, the forbidden longing. When detachment is power and yet something stirs when you step back. When you detach not from coldness, but from awareness. You see the boy within the man reaching out in silent rebellion, but you do not rescue him. You simply hold your ground. That is the forbidden dynamic he cannot admit. His deepest longing is not for the woman who submits, but for the woman who stands sovereign. Because in your sovereignty, you challenge his exile. You awaken the path of individuation, the hero's journey inward, where no woman can follow. You reflect what he fears to face, that no relationship will save him from the self he's abandoned. In that moment, you become both the muse and the mirror, the sacred feminine that invites, but never chases. You're the question he dares not answer. Scene 5, liberation. When she walks away in silence Day, you will walk away, not out of anger, not out of defeat, but because you see what he refuses to become. You will leave softly, without closing the door, knowing that this isn't about winning or losing. It's about letting him meet his reflection when he's ready. He will feel your absence like a quiet storm. He will remember how you never tried to fix him, never demanded, never kneeled to his chaos. And in that remembrance, he will confront the very parts of himself he spent a lifetime avoiding, and perhaps, in that sacred space of loss, he will begin to feel what was once forbidden. But whether he awakens or not, the truth remains, the woman who walks away in silence isn't weak. She simply sees more.